I call Stephen Browning.
Kia ora, Mr Speaker.
Kia ora.
I rise to speak in support of this good bill that has been presented by the Honourable David Parker, the Minimum Wage Contractor Remuneration Amendment Bill. This is a good bill because it aims to close some gaps around workers and fairness about what people should actually get when they're doing some work, and the gap that's caused by employers seeking to exploit various workers. So the purpose of this bill to amend the Minimum Wage Act to ensure an extension of provisions to apply to payments under a contract for services that end up being paid at less than the minimum wage. This is about correcting that. Certain sorts of work, and there's one that's been mentioned a lot, is leaflet deliveries, pamphlets. They're not subject currently to the same provisions as wages are paid through other contracts. This aims to fix that. Contractors are exempt from most minimum employment standards, and in a way this bill doesn't go quite far enough, and the previous speaker was referring to some aspects. He didn't mention ACC in there. This bill appears not to be still quite fixing that, but it will ensure that a number of workers will actually get at least the minimum employment standards of financial gain. The Green Party supports raising minimum wages, always has, supports the living wage movement. During the election campaign, our policy was to ensure that all relevant government contractors were to make sure that a living wage was paid when the contracts come up for renewal. That's just sort of one example. We support workers and we try to ensure inequality is reduced all the time. We're consistently looking at bridging the gaps around inequality. We support the concept of contractors being able to receive a decent wage equivalent to at least the minimum wage, and for good reason. These workers are effectively subsidising those that are employing them, those that are contracting them. And just think about those people. We see them delivering leaflets, pamphlets. Maybe a reduction in the amount that's delivered will be a reduction in junk mail, but it's appropriate that they should be working in a safe way. They should be treated fairly, they should be treated with dignity, and that means they should be being paid at least the minimum wage. They're not always working in a comfortable position either. Wind, rain, hot and cold, steep, slippery, different situations, dogs and whatever. And to think that those people would do that and not be getting paid the minimum wage is totally wrong. In Select Committee, I noticed the government bleated a lot about the cost of enforcement. Well, if it costs a bit to enforce this, so be it. It's absolutely critical that enforcement is carried out, because I've seen it in my region where contractors for the grape industry have needed enforcement to actually get fair pay for those that are working for bit payment and otherwise. And I noticed in Schedule 2 here, we've got quite a list of different services that may be affected: building and construction services, cleaning services, courier, food catering, fast food delivery, the newspaper and pamphlets that we talked about, personal home care support to individuals in an individual's house, a number of entertainment services, manufacture of clothing, footwear, textiles, telemarketing, market research, security guards even. and also forestry industry relating to planting, pruning or felling. That industry has had one hang of a hiding in terms of deaths and employment issues. If this bill can go any way to helping there, it's a very good bill. Truck driving services also delivering goods. It's important that any contract and anything related services like that is covered, that anyone there is getting at least the minimum wage. And we will be supporting that, continue to support it, because this is a good bill. It will work for fairness for those people. It will allow them to at least have the dignity of the minimum wage. And if there's a cost for enforcement, so be it. We need good enforcement in the workplace for health and safety reasons, but we also need it to make sure that people are getting the minimum wage. So the Green Party supports this and are grateful for the Honourable David Parker for bringing this bill to the House. Thank you.
I call Pamjit Pama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.